When you're dealing with effects, keyframes are part of any workflow. We've already worked with them in several ways in this course, by changing the values of audio levels over time, and by changing the values of motion effects over time with still images and video. Now we're going to apply them to change the values of various other effects with our video. So I have this clip here, and I've applied several effects to it, and I've animated it. I'm going to play it for you just so you can see what it looks like. I'm going to click on it and then open up the effect controls so we can see behind the scenes. As you can see, I have a posterize, a tint, and a Gaussian blur applied, and we start off with all of the effects in full force, and then it gradually decreases until here when I have normal looking video. And then at the very end, we have a quick zoom. All right, so now that we know how we want this to look and we've looked behind the scenes, let's try recreating it. I've got the same exact clip right here without any effects applied. So I'm going to click on this and I'm going to go over to my effect tab. Let's go ahead and grab all of those effects. I need a tint, and I need a posterize, and I need a Gaussian blur. And there is a zoom in, but we can work with that with the motion effects. So what I'm going to do is go to the very beginning of this, and I'm going to activate the parameter that we're going to animate. For tint, it is amount, so I'll go ahead and click on the stopwatch here. And for posterize, it's the level of posterization, so again I'll click on the stopwatch here. And for Gaussian blur, it's the amount of blurriness. And I'm going to add my second set of keyframes about right here, and I do that by just clicking on this Add Keyframe button on those same values, and I have a third set of keyframes right here. So I like to set up my keyframes first and then just change the values. So I know that at this point my video needs to look completely normal. So I'm going to select this keyframe, and then I'm going to take away my amount to tint. I'm going to bring that to 0. And then I'm going to click on this keyframe, and let's see, my level going to the left is even more severe, so I'm going to go all the way to the right. And then I'm going to click on this one, and actually my blurriness is already at 0, so I don't need to change that one. Now I'm going to go back to the beginning set of keyframes where everything's in full force. So I'm just going to go to the left and to the left again, and I'm going to click on this keyframe here, and amount to tint 100, that's fine. But instead of mapping black to black, I'm going to map black to dark red. And then I'm going to come down to posterization, and let's bring that back. Maybe not all the way to 2, but I'll do 4. And then on blurriness, let's bump up the blurriness to 10 or so. And now I'm going to go to the second set of keyframes, and basically I just want it to be a little bit less than the first, so my blurriness will be 4. And my level will be a little bit above 10, and my amount to tint somewhere around 70 or 80. Let's play this and see how it works. Remember, if we wanted that to happen faster or slower, I can just lasso these keyframes, and if I want it to happen faster, I can drag to the left, and that animation is going to happen more quickly. And I can, of course, go in and modify each of the values of these keyframes. But for right now, I'm okay with that. And now I'm going to go a little bit downstream, and I'll have the zoom in start about here. And I'm going to do that with the scaling parameter under motion. So I'm going to activate the stopwatch for scale. And this one's okay at 100, but then I'm going to go to the end of the clip and add a keyframe, and we're going to go all the way in, like so. And let's play this. All right, good. Now I can continue tweaking this if I want, but I'm okay with this for now. Now if I want to save this out, we already know that I can copy and paste attributes and that we can save presets, but I want to talk about saving presets with effects that contain keyframes. So once again, I'm going to option drag this over to duplicate it, and I'm going to remove all the effects from this one, so I'll just right-click and remove effects. And let's remove all motion and video effects. Okay, so now I have raw video. And what I'm going to do is make this longer. Just make myself some room here. And I actually don't have a lot of room here, but I've made it a little bit longer. So I'm going to save a preset off of this one. And I'm going to twirl all these up so I can see everything. So I want to save motion and tint and posterize and Gaussian blur. And I'll right-click and save preset. And I'm just going to call this tinted posterized zoom. But I want to come down here to type, scale, anchor to endpoint, and anchor to outpoint. Now, what does this mean? Well, let's talk about the clip that we're actually taking this from. It's this one right here. It's about 7 seconds long. So if it's 7 seconds long, then the first part of the animation is over with in about 3.5 seconds. So if I apply it to this longer clip, then if I scale it, it's going to be proportional. So instead of having the first 3.5 seconds, it's going to take the first half. So if this clip is, say, 9 seconds long, then it's going to go over the first 4.5 seconds. So it's just proportionalizing it. Now, anchor to endpoint means that the values are going to be computed in real time from the beginning of the clip. So here the effect is happening over the first 3.5 seconds, and then I have a zoom that ends perfectly at the end. Whereas this one, it again would go over the first 3.5 seconds, and the zoom would end early. So it's not proportionalizing it, rather it's keeping it in real time based on this effect. And then anchor to outpoint would be the reverse. The zoom would happen at the very end, but then everything else is going to be back-timed. So most of the time I choose scale so that I can apply the effect proportionally across the duration of the clip. So I'll choose scale and I'll say OK, and I'll go ahead and drag this on. And let's take a look at how this is working with the longer clip. So by now you should be pretty comfortable with applying keyframing in audio, video, and stills. Keep practicing as you add multiple effects to your clips, and keyframing will come more and more natural as you continue editing.